The next session, we're going to talk to a very interesting entrepreneur. So he's Krishna, the founder and CEO of Simplilearn. So Simplilearn is a leading online boot camp. They provide certifications and training in digital economy skills like data science, AI, and cybersecurity. So I met Krishna, I think, over 12 years back when he was raising his first institutional VC money, and it's been a remarkable journey, and would love to invite him over to talk more and learn more from his journey of building Simplilearn.
Thank you, Sampath. Thank you so much.
So maybe to start off, I think one thing that's really interesting in your journey that I personally feel is a lot of companies, especially SaaS companies, are building with the US market as a primary focus. You started building in India, and then now you moved to the US after a considerable amount of scale and growth that you've done. Just from your perspective, what were some of the challenges and learnings in doing this GTM sort of movement down the road versus, from the very beginning with exclusive focus on the US, right? So some learnings from your journey in India as well as in the US,
So Sampath, I'll just give some background about how this company came into existence. So before starting Simplilearn, I had already built and sold a company to a public listed company in India. And Simplilearn started in between. So when I sold that company and moved out, I was running it as a personal blog. And since I was running it as a personal blog, I used to write a lot of content, do a lot of free kind of webinar, and it had got a audience and traffic already built in. So when I converted that from a free blog to a paid platform, I started getting paying customers, and my initial set of customers were actually all from US, and they were from US consumers. So it was not companies. And 2 years down the line, when I raised my first institutional round with Kalaari in 2012, almost 90% business was from US consumers. And it was already a very profitable company at that point of time. I remember Vani giving me a $3 million check in 2012 and telling me that do an FD because anyway you don't need money, you are making so much of money. So it was a very, very unique venture funding at that point of time. So from that point onwards, it started as a consumer platform, completely driven by free organic traffic. Over time, the kind of courses that we used to offer, like all the emerging tech courses, there are a lot of companies also started sending their employees to our platform. And again, that also happened in the US first. And our business was always that build in India for the world. So we are building all the product, technology. In fact, at some point of time, we had our entire team in India, not even a single team member based out of US. And most of them had zero experience of being in US. People have not even traveled and been there. So everything we looked from the internet, like what courses are like popular in the market, who is consuming those kind of courses, everything was done from India. The India market got built for us frankly during COVID. So in COVID we saw a big digital disruption in India, and that's where we started getting traction in India as a market. So that's how the business was. As you know, we completed our one phase of exit. So Kalaari came, and we had some other venture investors who were part of the company in 2011. We gave exit to all the investors and got Blackstone as a new partner to build the next phase of growth. And in that process, we realized that if you really want to build a much larger business than what we are, being here in the US will be better because most of my customers are based here. In fact, now I have more than 150 full-time employees here in the US. So it made sense for me to move and get a first-hand experience. I always used to travel between US and India, but having moved to US in the last 1 year plus, I could say that my understanding of the market has become much better than what I thought. So I thought that I knew the market well, but after moving within a year, I realized that I still have a lot of things to learn about how my consumers behave and why they do why they do what they do and how can I better serve them. So it has been a very different journey. Those consumer platform, 25% of the business is enterprise today, and our goal is to push more enterprise revenue because on a longer term basis, the cost of acquisition there is lower compared to our consumer business. So that's where we are.
Sure. Now, you mentioned getting a partial exit, and I think it was probably one of the first, if not the first, transactions where a PE investor gave a VC-backed company some sort of exit, right, in India. And you had plenty of exit options at that point of time. So maybe you can talk about what made you choose a partial exit and continue to build the company route, and any thoughts that you want to share in terms of thinking about exit for, especially for the founders here.
So I think Sampath, I want to talk about like my experience. I'm sure everyone has a different experience. When you think about exit, when you think about building business, I don't think as an entrepreneur I ever built business to exit. Like always did whatever I did. My first company I started because I joined Infosys as a software engineer. I had no work for 6-8 months. I left Infosys without work, thinking about what do I do next. In the process, started my first company, ran it for 7 years and sold it to a public company. Simplilearn started as a personal blog because I wanted to learn internet and how the difference between running an enterprise company that my last company was versus trying to build an internet business. And in the process, it became a company, and I started working on what I like the most, like building product for my customer, looking at customer experience, monitoring what competition is doing, how can I become, every day can be better than yesterday. That has always been my motto. And investor coming in, investor coming out, I have always looked at that as an incidental, that if you build good business that is making money, you'll always attract investors. And there are like different categories of investors. Some investors come very early, some come during the mid process, some come later on, some come at a much later stage, right? So, and obviously all investors have an exit cycle. So at some point of time when we were looking for exit, and we ran a process, and our vendors was our banker, and obviously a great banking platform. So they got us 7 offers in total. Out of that, 5 offers were 100% cash exit, and 2 offers were with large private equity firm. So after a lot of analysis, we decided to go with the private equity for various reasons. I think that's also is a very interesting discussion on why would you leave a all cash exit to opt for a private equity backer. In my case, when I started thinking about it, that do I like what I like doing? And then the answer for me was yes, I like to be in skilling. I like making impact for my learners' life. So many people write so many good stories to me personally, saying that how they are struggling in their career. They took a training program on Simplilearn platform, and it has been transformational in their life. So that always motivated me. So when I was thinking about the exit, the question that I asked myself, that if I sell my company today and get the entire money in bank, what will I do next? And the answer for me was that, can I become an investor? I asked that honest question for myself, and the answer was that no, I don't like investing. I can't be like what we call in India, giving gyan to people and expecting them to perform. I'm very action oriented. If something bothers to me, I want to do it myself rather than telling something that okay, I'm enabling you to do it. So, but it was a big, like I was personally making in the transaction more than $100 million. Karan is our banker, he's here. And it was a big decision for the family that, do you really want to say no to $100 million in cash? Personal, that was not the company. My personal shareholding was worth so much in cash. And then me and my wife also works for the company. We decided that let's assume that we have $100 million in the bank. What will you do? Will you start another company? Then we realized that if you want to start another company, it will again go through the same journey. And for that company also to reach to a stage that you get a partner like Blackstone. So eventually the company that came into Simplilearn cap table was Blackstone, the largest investor in the world with $1 trillion under management. The answer was that, what will you do? You'll again go to a large player and try to create another large outcome. So why not this? So that was the reason why we decided to take a partial exit and then again building. So I'm in the process of building again. And with this new investor also, I never think about frankly exit. Because I'm doing what I'm doing. As long as the business is valuable, as long as the business is my customers like it, I'm doing them better than competition, there will again be an exit cycle, and we'll see. It's quite likely that in the next exit cycle also, Blackstone might make an exit, I might not.
Cool. And you mentioned how passionate you are about enabling skilling, right? So, I mean, if you look at the India opportunity in terms of what education and EdTech can do in India, and with the largest potential working population there, youngest working population, which needs to be upskilled, and then the global opportunity. given all the backdrop of how skilling in itself, especially with AI, is undergoing a huge sort of transformation. So what are your thoughts on where is the opportunity and how does AI impact the future, the way you see it in EdTech?
So Sampath, here also I'll give you my, again, on personal example. So I participated in a debate when I was in 9th grade. And the topic of the debate was that is population a boon or a bane? Everybody is talking about that during those, I'm talking about 90s, like I've been completed my 10th grade in 93, it must be 91, that population is a bane because we have less resources, we have so much of population, we can't serve everybody. And I remember that time also I was debating in the favor that human being cannot be a bane, it's always a boon. People with mind, people with ability cannot be a curse. It's actual real opportunity for India way back in 1991. I had no idea that I'll be doing what I do today, but I always had this view that human being can always is a source of energy, is a source of all the good things that has happened in the world. So we talked about India having a very young population. My strong belief is that we will win as a country because of the young population, and if that population is also skilled, that's where all the jobs will go. And today we live in a world which is so well connected that you can pretty much work for anyone from anywhere, and that also works in the India favor, that we have large working population, we have population that if it is skilled also, why would you not become the fastest growing economy and the largest economy in the world? So I'm a big believer of like young talent and skilled talent makes all the difference.
So what, I mean, other than EdTech, what are you excited about in terms of the India Alpha story this next decade? How do you see some things which are exciting for you unfold?
So, Sampath, so EdTech is, obviously I work in EdTech, so I don't really think of EdTech as EdTech. I think about that I'm in a business where I'm making people more efficient. So since I'm a big believer of young population which is motivated, who wants to be successful, who wants to make a difference, I think India has a huge future. And having recently moved from US to India, I can clearly see a difference. This country, like my observation in the last 8-9 months has been, that this country is run by insurance agent and lawyers. Because that is not the case in India. Right? India people are always talking about innovation, they're talking about growth, we are talking about how life has changed for us. Right? In last 10 years I have seen, like in 2012 versus 2024, it's a totally different India that I see. I have personally seen, I live in Dallas, not in Bay Area, and from Bangalore to Dallas, I suddenly realized that where have I moved? Of course, the physical infrastructure is great, but digital infrastructure sucks. I have to, for every small thing, I have to go and visit a Bank of America branch. And when I tell that in last 10 years, I never visited a branch in India, the guy says, oh, really, can you explain how this particular thing happens in India if you don't go to the branch? So it's like very, very like different kind of world altogether. I've seen people who are in this country who moved here maybe 20 years back, who are not, for various reasons, they are not part of the startup world. They are living in a world thinking that India is still in how it was in 99 and 2000. They have not seen the real reality. Frankly, I feel really pity for him that they are still carrying an image of India that's not the true India. So I am a big believer, and of course I am here with a purpose for my current role. But given a chance, I would definitely like to be in the Bangalore. There's nothing beats the energy that we see in Bangalore. I'm sure Bay Area will be better because of it started from all here, but yeah, I really miss the energy, and I'm a big believer in India. If I have to write a blank check of all my money, it will go to India.
Awesome. Great. I mean, thanks for sharing your thoughts. Wonderful having you here. Thank you.